Hey guys, so I'm still working on fall decor on my tablescape, and I thought how fun would it be to have pumpkins like different sizes and different colors within my tablescape. So I found these pumpkins on Amazon, and they come in a package like this, you guys. These are so cute. You get 12 pieces, and they're all different sizes and a few different shapes. And so I'm going to take these and we're going to zhuzh them up and make them bougie, because you guys know I'm working on my bougie holiday decor. And so I've already started some pumpkins, but I wanted us to come on together and do something together. Hey, my name is Royce Hunt Bell, owner and operator of Roycycled Treasure. Let's get started with our project today. So before I get started, you guys, I wanted to go over what supplies we'll be using today. I'm going to be using, I forgot how much I love this color until I use it again, but it's Wise Owl's Black Cherry. It is this beautiful, 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 I don't even know what, I'm not sure. I guess an eggplant, kind of. It's a beautiful, beautiful burgundy, but it has a lot of blue in it, so it's kind of purpley. It's yummy. So we're going to use that for this pumpkin today. For the sake of time, I've already primed this pumpkin using Wise Owl's Dark Gray Primer. Wise Owl has primer in 3 different colors to really help you maximize your final paint finish. I use the Dark Gray Primer whenever I'm painting with red, purple, any kind of jewel tones, because this is going to go a long way to giving me a really deep color and giving me maximum coverage. So I have that. I'm also going to be using Iron Orchid Designs Floral Anthology Transfer, you guys. We're going to put some beautiful flowers on our pumpkin and make her extra bougie. Of course, I'll be sealing my pumpkins using Wise Owl's 1 Hour Enamel, because it is my favorite product to use in conjunction with the Iron Orchid Design Transfers. So let's get started with a base coat of Black Cherry, this gorgeous, gorgeous color. And you guys will see how the coverage is going to be so much easier over this dark gray as opposed to trying to paint over that bright white. And the primer also gives you a nice toothy surface so that your paint adheres quicker. I'm not going to focus on the bottom too much, because I know if I put a lot of paint there, it's just going to stick to my table. So I'll have to go back and touch that up after the top dries. Okay, we're gonna let this dry, you guys, and I think I just decided that I'm gonna do a little bit of blending. I think I'm gonna go in and kind of shade the recesses with some black just to add some extra drama. But let's let this coat dry and we'll be right back. So our first coat of paint is just about dry. It's dry enough for us to move on to the second coat. But with the second coat, I want to use some black in the recesses of this pumpkin just to add a little more drama to my finish. And I just have a piece of wax paper here because I'm not going to use very much paint, you guys, and I don't want to waste a whole bowl just for a little squirt of paint, because I'm not going to need a lot. But what I'm going to need is a little bit of black paint, and I'm going to need a second brush. And that brush will be dry, and I'm making a mess while I'm talking to you guys. That brush will be dry, and that'll help us blend the colors together on our pumpkin. I'm just going to take my black, let me spritz it with a little bit of water. The water really helps for your paint to move, and I'm just going to drop a little bit of black into my recesses. And I don't want to do too much at one time because I don't want the paint to dry in there. And then I'm just going to go in with my Black Cherry over the high points. And then I'm going to blend it all together to get the effect that I want. And so I'm just going to take my dry brush and just kind of blend that together. And so you see how the smaller brush really helps that black kind of stay put. I don't want it to blend out onto the pumpkin too much. So that is the look that I'm going for, you guys. Just a little more drama. Whenever I'm blending, I always use a second brush and I keep it dry. So after I've done like that part, I'm going to take this and I'm going to wipe this off before I move on to the next section. So I'm not depositing more paint. I'm simply moving around the paint that's already on the surface. And we're going to do the same thing. Just spritz it with a little bit of water so that paint will move. Go into the recesses with the black. And I guess I'm doing the pumpkin in threes. So I just want to do it so that it doesn't dry before I can get my colors blended. And you guys will notice I'm only going up and down. I'm not going across because I don't want to blend the black out into the pumpkin too much. I really want it to stay put in the recesses. And we have one more section. We love the drama, right? But only in our crafts, not in our lives. There are some areas where I feel like a little bit too much of the black came out into the, the high points. So I'm just going to go and brush over all these, just the high points. I'm not dropping any paint into the recessed areas. I just want to make sure that I maintain that beautiful color of the black cherry on the actual pumpkin. And I think that's it. What do you guys think? So our pumpkin is all painted, although, you guys know what? Let's add some bling to our pumpkin. How can they be bougie pumpkins if they don't have any metallic, right? So I'm going to use some of my Posh pigments to add some bling to this pumpkin. I'm trying to decide what I want to go with. The orange gold is really warm, but actually it's perfect for Halloween. So let's go with that because it's really warm. It's an orange gold, but I think that it's perfect for to go with this color. So with the pigments, you guys, I'm just going to take a little bit of my pigments and I just put it here in my bowl, not a ton. I love using the pigments because I can control how strong I want this to be. So whether I want it to be more like a glaze where it's barely metallic, or if I want it to be like a really strong color that's really opaque on my piece. I get to decide how much of the pigment that I want to put into my mixture. And so I'm just going to take a brush that I already had in my jar and just mix that up, you guys. It's super easy to use. And this is a really, really warm gold. There is a more classic gold that we could use, but I think this is going to be really pretty with this kind of an eggplant color. And it is Halloween, so if I'm going to do orange, this is the kind of orange I'm going to do. So I'm just going to add a little metallic to that stem. And my stem is coming out a little bit because I've been using it like a tool, but I'll just go back in after everything dries and drop a little glue in there and it will be fine. We'll let that dry. And then I am going to set this one aside. I have some pre-painted pumpkins, so I'm going to set this one aside and we'll let it dry. And then we'll work on a pumpkin that I started earlier today. So this is one that I already painted, you guys. This one is painted in Poseidon. You guys know I love that color. So this color is repeated a lot within my tablescape that we're kind of working on over time. So this one's all painted and ready to go. So I'm actually able to transfer. Now, I've already sealed this one because I know that when I seal my pieces, it makes doing my transfers a lot easier. So I did take the time to seal this pumpkin before I'm going to add the transfers. I do have some that I'm not going to seal because when I think about my tablescape, I want there to be like these small variances. And so you guys will see me using a few metallic colors. This one, it has a really flat finish, and I want to have that flat finish and maintain this one. Some of them will have a more of a shinier finish. Some of them will have transfer, some of them won't. So there'll be these variances within them, and there'll be different colors. I think it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Hopefully. We'll see what happens, right? So to do our transfer, let's pick what we're going to use first. I'm going to need smaller pieces for this project. And I think I want some lighter pieces to kind of lighten this up because this Poseidon is a pretty dark color. So I'm going to go into my transfer and just pick out some bits that I think will work on my pumpkin. I think this yellow here is going to be really beautiful. And even the green is really nice. So like this one in particular, I think that I can cut this apart and use this one to cover the majority of my pumpkin. And so this is the piece, but I'm going to disassemble this, and we're probably going to only use this for this specific pumpkin. But I love the pink. I think it's going to add some lightness. And this one here is a white bloom, but it has a lot of blue in it. So it's going to look really nice on this one. So now it's just a matter of deciding where I'm going to dissect this. I'm going to follow the lines of this flower here because I know that I want to use this on my pumpkin. And when there's color touching color, I have to be really mindful of how I cut. But in the areas where there's white, I really don't have to worry about it because once I take the backing paper off, that white is going to disappear. And I'm only going to be left with the actual color of the artwork. That's one of the beautiful things of using transfers, is that you have that flexibility to be able to do that. So this is a stick, and it comes with each of your transfers, and you just use this to rub your transfers off of the backing paper and onto your surfaces. So let's start with our larger bloom, and we will get it adhered. So I'm transferring, and this is not a flat surface. So I want to be really thoughtful about how I am putting on this transfer. So what I'm doing is really focusing on the recesses of this pumpkin first, and then I will adhere my transfer to the high points. So that way I don't have to worry about having a lot of cracked transfers on my surface. And even though I have my transfers laid down on my surface, you guys will see this is still popped up. So rather than forcing it down and trying to get everything to lay down, and then pushing my transfer off of my backing paper and having to have it crack, I'm going to move from this side of the transfer to this side of the transfer, making sure I get each section adhered, and then I'll move on to the next. And with these particular pumpkins, because they're styrofoam, I do not want to rub too hard. So I'm really being conscientious when I'm rubbing off my transfer. And so now my transfer is adhered. I'm just going to take the matte side of my backing paper and just rub over it, just to make sure that my transfer adheres to my surface. So I want to get really good contact between the transfer and the surface of my pumpkin. So, and you guys can see how I was able to adhere that transfer, and I don't have a lot of cracks. I may have a couple, which isn't a deal breaker, but I just didn't want to have a lot of really big cracks in those recessed areas. So I was really cognizant about how I apply the transfer to the surface. And I'm going to continue to build out my design. This is a pretty big design, so I'm going to cheat, you guys. I'm going to go through, and any of the white areas, I'm going to snip them. So what this is going to do is allow these individual pieces to move separate from each other, which is going to make it a lot easier to adhere this to my pumpkin. I'm actually even going to go along this line of my bloom here, so that when I'm adhering this, if it needs to flex in order to move around the rounded areas of this pumpkin, that it has the flexibility to be able to do that. So I am just like making strategic snips within the body of the transfer, just to give it the opportunity to be able to do that. So now this piece is moving independently of this piece, which is independent of this piece, and so on and so forth. And that's going to give me a lot of flexibility when I start transferring this to this rounded surface. So I have that big thing here, so I'm going to put this big one here. And I think I want the flower at the top. And so you can already see how the individual elements being able to move separate from each other is going to make it a lot easier for me to apply this transfer to an uneven and rounded surface. It's a lot easier to transfer the pieces that are not as solid on a rounded surface. It takes a little bit more patience with the bigger pieces, but you can do it though. Look at how beautiful that is, you guys. And I think for this small pumpkin, well, let's do a couple of filler pieces. I don't want to put too much on it. I think we'll put something here in this empty space, and I'll put something here in this empty space, and then we'll be done with her. And that is it. Oh, we have our leaf here. Oh, I gotta use it, you guys. I have to. Maybe not. We'll save that one for a different pumpkin. So there we are. We have one of our bougie pumpkins with some florals on it. And I wanted to show you guys, just to get an idea of what the tablescape is going to be like. This is one that I've completed already. I added the transfers, and I painted that one a copper. I may go back with the copper over this one. I haven't decided. It's not quite dry yet, but you guys can start beginning to see the vision as we bring all of these different shades and mats of pumpkins together to create something absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I know there's a lot of painting pumpkins right now, but I just thought that I could make some bougie pumpkins. That will be really fun and really beautiful. Again, today we use Wise Owl. This is Wise Owl's Black Cherry, gorgeous color. This color is actually Wise Owl and Poseidon. We use the Floral Anthology transfer from Iron Orchid Design, and we sealed everything using Wise Owl's 1 hour enamel. 1 hour enamel clear. And this one I believe is in satin, but this is the matte finish. And so we're going to have different finishes, different colors, but I think that the color story throughout them all will still be absolutely gorgeous. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Be sure and subscribe if you guys want to see more tutorials like these. If you hit the bell, you'll actually get an alert every time we upload a new video. If you are looking for the supplies I used in today's video, you can find them at roycycled.com. You guys have a blessed week and continue creating. Thank you.